And it's just a lot more logical. This is like a free-for-all. Yeah, it's like a free-for-all, and it's kind of, it's kind of scary in that way. Okay, I think we're live.
And we can turn on and off.
Okay.
Right here. Good evening. I'd like to welcome all of you here in the audience as well as home on cable to the candidate forum for the Whittier City School District Area 5. This is the first round of elections where the school district is represented completely through districts rather than at-large representatives. And in this election, Area 5, which is the uptown east part of the district, is up for election. Our two candidates we have here this evening are seeking to represent that eastern part of the district. It runs from, Mar Vista North, approximately, to
Whittier City, or Whittier Boulevard up to Skyline Drive.
Okay. And then for people who live in the west central part of Whittier, the Area 3 is also having an election. However, the seat was not vacated at a point at which candidates were able to file to meet the regular county filing deadline, which was August the 10th. So there are only write-in candidates who are running for Area 3 election. Those write-in candidates do have to qualify by filling out several forms at the registrar's office in Norwalk. And at this moment, I understand that there are 4 candidates who have qualified. However, the write-in qualifying process does not close until October 25th. And that is the reason we are not having the Area 3 people here on the dais tonight. However, some of the Area 3 candidates will be in the hall, and you can chat with them after the forum and get acquainted and find out who is running for that office. If you're in Area 3, your ballot will not have any candidate names on it, and you will have to write in a candidate if you choose to vote for a candidate in that election. The names of the candidates will be on the table at the vote centers. So you can find out, if you haven't seen it before, you can find out at the vote center the names of those candidates. So that's one of those little weird glitches that's going on this year. I am Margot Rieg. I am the president of the LA County League of Women Voters and the acting president of the Whittier League of Women Voters. The League is a nonpartisan political organization. Our purpose is to promote the informed and active participation of people in their government, from local to state to national. We put on candidates' forums as part of our voter service activity so that people can listen to and question the people who are vying to represent them at whatever level, whether it's city council, school board, assembly, or community college board, that we are hosting at the time and that would be on your ballot. School boards are composed of local citizens, and now they have to live within the district that they are seeking to represent. They are elected to manage the policies and the budgets of local school districts, to oversee the planning for the effective education of the district students, and to ensure that the district complies with the letter and the spirit of state education law. They also hire the superintendent, and so they meet regularly on a monthly basis and get intimately involved in the schools and the management of the district. Our local elected trustees are just that, local members of the community, and they should be accessible to their constituents and responsive. All two candidates who are running for Area 5 are here tonight. Each has agreed to abide by the rules sent out in their invitation. They are not to denigrate the other candidate. They are to talk about what they envision for the district and how they plan to work cooperatively with the other members of the board and the administration to make the district function well. There is literature outside the room brought by the candidates, and you're welcome to pick it up and take it with you and use it to help you decide how you're going to vote. I have brought my ballot. It came. I hope most of you got your ballots in the mail. And voting, the ballot drop box is open tomorrow. So if you're an eager beaver and you know exactly what you want to do, you can fill out your ballot and either mail it or take it to a drop box immediately. The vote centers will open on October 29th, and I think at that time there will probably be between 2 and 4 open in Whittier for that long time period. And all vote centers will be open for the weekend, so it would be 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th of November. They will all be open. Remember that you may go in person to any vote center, whether it's in Whittier or Palos Verdes or downtown LA, and cast your ballot, because we have a universal voter registration database that can be used no matter where you go. This is to facilitate people who leave early to go to work, get home very late, but there's a vote center near their place of work. So, I will introduce the 2 candidates who are vying for the seat in Area 5 for the Whittier City School District. Our first candidate this evening is Alana Griego Melgar, and the second one is Linda Small. We have arbitrarily drawn for order of speaking, and so we will begin this evening with Ms. Melgar, and we will move to Ms. Small. At the conclusion, when they give their closing statements, we will start with Ms. Small and end with Ms. Melgar. In between, with only 2 candidates, I'm just going to jump back and forth. So, the candidates have been given 2 minutes to make an opening statement, to introduce you to themselves, and to tell you their ideas about the issues of importance within the Whittier City School District. And I'd like you to hear from Alana Griego Melgar.
Turn it on.
Yep.
There we go. Good evening. Good evening, everybody. My name is Alana Griego Melgar, as Mrs. Rigg has said. I am here as a mother and a wife. First and foremost, I have a high schooler at Whittier High School. My younger 2 boys, I actually homeschool for a number of reasons. I'm sorry. The biggest issue for me personally that I believe our district is facing is the issue of health education. I believe that, under California state law, a comprehensive sexual education and HIV prevention is permissible to teach in grades K through 6. While the CDE website is very encrypted in its language, you can visit the website yourself and read the actual details of the curriculum. As far as the Whittier City School District goes, I have a few examples of how it is here in our district. I have a friend whose kids are at Hoover. They received a survey asking the children if they identified as a boy, a girl, or choose not to answer. Second, my friend sent her daughter to Dexter last year after coming from private school. And within 1 month of being at Dexter, she was deciding that she was no longer a girl, she was a boy. Her teachers then encouraged it and called her by her boy name. Third example that I have is my friend texted me a few weeks ago at Edwards Middle School, and she said that her daughter was learning about, in social studies, was learning about gender fluidity, gender identity, and Latinx. Latinx, if you do not know, is a group of Latinos that identify as non-binary. My suggestions are to parents to get involved in your child's education. Look on the school's website. You can find the curriculum under the School Accountability Report Card, or SARC for short, and look and get involved in what your children are learning.
Thank you. Next, we will hear from Linda Small.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Linda Small, and I'm a 30-year resident of Whittier. I'm a 17-year Whittier City School District Board member, and I'm running for re-election in Trustee Area 5. As an experienced board member, I know well what the major issues are facing our district. Several key challenges we will continue to face over the next few years revolve around academic achievement among all groups, testing and technological capabilities to bind them together towards success. Declining enrollment will also pose its own challenges, as it has for a few years now, and we must make public schools filled with quality, character, safety, and strong academics, so our city of Whittier remains a thriving community. At this time, though, it goes without saying that our whole country, and particularly California public schools, were adversely impacted by COVID and an immediate need to pivot to remote learning. Whittier City rose to the occasion of surviving through this dark period of COVID. Fortunately for us, we were already prepared as a one-to-one iPad community, and we moved to secure additional resources necessary to provide support for our students and their families as they were making this transition. While far from perfect, remote learning at the hands of our amazing team, Whittier City, our teachers, our aides, our custodians, our food service folks, our maintenance and operations, along with our board and leaders, we made it through and learned a great deal in the process. Our teams are resuming their keen ability to collaborate, innovate, and be nimble to the needs of our students at every school across every grade level. We've prioritized conditions for learning, measuring and making adjustments based on student outcomes, and working hard to re-engage with each other, our students, our families, and our Whittier community. These goals will bring us to where we need to be.
Thank you. Okay, the first question I will address to the two candidates, and we will begin with Ms. Small and then go to Ms. Melgar. And 1 minute for each answer from now on. So, what experiences do you bring to the school board that would benefit your participation on an education board?
Okay, I'm first. First off, I've been on the board for 17 years, and we've pretty much lived through some of the most dark economic times, and certainly the pandemic, which created havoc in all of our lives. I think those two experiences, learning how to strategize the finances of a large district, certainly making our way through the pandemic in the way that we had to pivot to allow education to continue in a very strange way, and yet our staff rose to the occasion. We did that. I learned a great deal about those things, about people, about our flexibility as a district, and certainly about the need to come together as a team in order to just focus on our kids, on getting them educated and continuing to do the job that public schools are meant to do.
Thank you. Ms. Griego Melgar.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
What experience do you bring to be able to participate on an education board?
Okay.
What is your background and experience?
Awesome. Great question. So I have my bachelor's in child and adolescent development. I have from Cal State Fullerton. I have my master's in education. I went through a credential program. I have homeschooled my own kids, well, my younger two, for the last 4 years. I also have a high schooler who, has taught me all the things about life. And I have 3 boys, so they're very active and challenging on pretty much on an everyday basis. And, I've always been passionate about education. I didn't really have a supportive home growing up, so I really had to pursue education on my own. It has taken me longer than, most people, but I did it. I finished, my higher education. I have encouraged my younger kids, or my kids, to do the same thing. And I'm passionate, again, just for children in general. I love kids, and I support the students in every aspect.
Thank you. Okay. Can we hold our applause to the end, because it does take time? Thank you. This question asks, what is your vision for creating inclusive schools in the Whittier City District? And we'll begin with Ms. Griego Melgar.
Yeah, so I believe, excuse me, first and foremost in, loving your neighbor as yourself. I believe that all students should be able to come to school and feel safe and feel loved and feel accepted as they are. I don't believe in indoctrination. I do believe, however, that students should be able to come and be themselves. So my vision for the district would be for students to really come and be part of an educational community that teaches, the basics, the fundamentals, the reading, writing, math, and social studies, physical education, and really nothing extra. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Small.
Okay. Diversity in Whittier City School District is an everyday reality. We have about 86% of our population that's Hispanic. A large number of those are socioeconomically disadvantaged. We have foster children. We have about 100 homeless students who are classified in that way. We have the very brightest and some who are certainly in our special ed programs who are very severely challenged. Meeting the needs of all those students is a big job, and we do a great job of it in Whittier City. Character programs that we've developed at each of our schools help to make them kind environments, help them bring respect, help them bring good kids and good behavior. We're achievement in terms of our schools. We are highly awarded for our professional behavior intervention programs to help kids get to where they need to be in order to function well in classrooms and in society. I'd like to be able to continue all of those programs and then some.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, this person asks, what are your 2 biggest concerns for the Whittier School District? And what do you hope to do about those things? And we'll begin with Ms. Small.
Okay. For me, the 2 largest concerns that we have to be being able to regain our academic focus. Evolving out of COVID, where remote learning was an incredibly challenging time, we need to get our kids back on track. With that said, we also have the behavioral fallout of being out of school, out of the class for almost 2 years, and that's impacting where we're at with it. On the other part of it, we have an economic reality called declining enrollment. Declining enrollment will continue to impact us. We need to make our schools good, quality-based schools so that we can continue to attract good families, good students, and get our schools back on track with where they need to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Griego Melgar.
I believe the two biggest issues facing the Whittier City School District right now is parental involvement and school transparency. I think after the COVID years, the last couple of years when parents weren't allowed on campus, I actually went to back to school night at Hoover a couple weeks ago, and it was amazing to see parents on school. They were so excited. Like, I introduced myself to a couple different families, and parents were just happy to be on campus again and with their children. So I think the more that we can do, and I know that, you know, schools are open up for parents again, but the more that we can do to get parents involved and transparency, letting parents know what is being taught in the classroom, what books are in the library, what curriculum are their students learning, you know, really just being honest and open with families about what's going on in the classroom and on campuses.
Thank you. Now, the other half of this question. What are your two biggest hopes for the school district to accomplish in the next 4 years? And we'll begin with Ms. Griego Melgar.
What a loaded question. 4 years, wow. Well, first of all, I would love to see Whittier City School District be the gem that I know it can be. I've met so many families just in our area, Trustee Area 5, that have their kids in another district, whether it be East Whittier City School District or any of the surrounding districts, private schools. I believe that Whittier City School District can and will be, you know, have that luster and that appeal to families in our district, you know, that we all believe it can be. I believe that, you know, with my passion and with the rest of the board members, I believe that we can make the Whittier City School District a place where families feel comfortable, where they want to send their kids, and where they can trust us with their kids, and they will trust that we're teaching them what we should be teaching them.
Thank you. Ms. Small?
For me, there are a number of things I'd love to accomplish over the next 4 years, but two major ones would be, again, regaining our position as a destination school district. We have some of the best people in education that work for us. We have the ability to bring our students forward, and I look forward to continuing a lot of the programs that we've put in place, and then some. We want to do a lot of innovation in a couple of other areas to, again, make our schools so attractive that we steal kids from other school districts, that we bring people to our community because our schools are that good. The other side of it is the reality side that nobody likes to talk about, but it's the financial stability that's involved with that. When you're in a declining enrollment environment, it's challenging to make sure that you can provide for your staff, your teachers, your everybody to get what they need. But again, balancing those two, I know we can come to that place. We've been there before, we'll continue to get there. Thank you.
Thank you. This question, this person asks, what is your plan to support and enhance special needs education within the district? And we'll begin with Ms. Small.
Special needs, special education is an extreme challenge for Whittier City. Whittier City has always been a mecca in handling special education, probably one of the best in the area. With that in mind, there is no question that our kids suffered terribly as COVID hit, and they were, reduced to remote learning. Trying to learn when you have developmental challenges, when you have other kinds of physical challenges is extremely difficult. For us, we want to make sure that we get back on track with our population, to make sure we're connecting with parents and making sure that we're meeting the needs in the best way that we can. And again, soliciting the support of our federal government to make sure that they're reimbursing us for the cost of the education that we provide. We provide excellent education. Our federal government just does not reimburse us in a timely manner. So we've got a couple of fronts to keep working on with that, and we intend to keep doing that. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Griego Melgar.
Can you repeat the question?
What is your plan to support special needs education, so for the full range of special needs kids?
Well, as a mother of a child with special needs, I do feel like, I experienced this myself in the Whittier City School District, which is initially one of my reasons why I decided to pull my kids a few years ago, because I didn't feel like the schools could offer me the support that I needed as a mom and as a family. And I went to, numerous staff members, principals, teachers, and I just really didn't feel like I got the answers or the support that I needed at the time. So as a board member, I would do my best to learn all that I can as far as accessing whatever type of funding is available and really supporting the special education that we have in the district and just finding out more. I don't know too much extensively about it, but learning as much as I can and helping it to grow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In most of California, reading and math proficiency has declined due to the COVID remote learning. It was just very hard for students to keep up in the way they would with the personal attention of a teacher at school. There is a discussion going on about strategies for teaching reading, and what should Whittier City School District be doing to bring more students to proficiency, specifically in reading? And we'll begin with Ms. Griego Melgar. I know this is tough.
Well, I was kind of hoping Linda would go first so I can get a little bit of insight. But, again, like I said, this is my first time around as far as giving you a thorough plan and a thorough, promise that I don't necessarily feel like I could keep or not. The reading instruction I am not fully experienced in, other than teaching my own children reading. Like I said, I have a child with special needs, and he's taken me the longest. He's been, he's finally at grade level, but it's taken him a few years to read. And my older two, I feel like they were able to read a lot faster. However, for the district specifically, I would probably just do all the research I can do and piggyback on maybe some of Linda's ideas or the other board members and just learn how I can.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Small.
One of the nice things about our district is we have some really talented people in leadership who have a lot of really good answers on this. And for reading and math deficiencies, especially coming out of COVID, one of the primary focus that we have is in regard to reviewing pupil outcomes, taking a look at each individual student's performances, where they were in the past, where they are now, and developing individual plans for them so that they can actually learn. They can get the support that they need if they need tutoring, if they need work in certain areas of reading, and certainly in math, they can get those things. And it's a unique approach. It's a wonderful thing to see happen in the classroom, and I'm just really glad that I'm sad that we're there, that's where we're at, but I'm really glad that we've developed those interventions to help our students in those ways. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. This person asks, what type of sex education is appropriate in K through 8 schools? Should ideas such as gender fluidity and identity be brought up in K through 8 schools? And we'll begin with Ms. Small and move to Ms. Griego Melgar.
Okay. Obviously, this is a nationwide issue that there are varying opinions on. It's a challenging issue for all families involved in it. Whittier City abides by the California legislature's realities. Our regulations require us to provide 10 classes, 2-week period, where there is health, and part of that is sex education. The curriculum, you essentially had 2 choices. of what the curriculum could be, and in order to be a legally compliant district, we had to abide by that. On a personal level, when my kids went through it, and one of my sons is now a graduate of law school, so it was a number of years ago, it was the same reality. They approached parents, they gave you an opportunity to waive that particular class if you did not believe your child was ready for that, or that you wanted to personally handle it yourself, you could do that. You didn't have to have your child be exposed to anything that might be against what you believe. And so we continue that policy now.
Thank
And so
you.
thank you.
Okay, Ms. Griego Melgar.
Yeah, so for me, I don't believe that students should be learning about the gender identity, gender fluidity stuff. I do believe that a certain level of sexual education is appropriate at age-appropriate level. I think that, like Linda mentioned, I know that legally it is required here in the state of California. But for me and my beliefs, I just personally don't believe that children should be taught that stuff. I think that should be left for the home environment to teach their kids. I think there's, ways to go around it. Sexual education should begin at least the middle school level, and again, not at a K through 6 level. I don't think that younger kids should be taught that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Could I just add one thing just for the clarification on that?
As far as what
Just
legal
regard-
responsibility?
Yeah, what the legal responsibility is.
Okay.
And it's not anything other than the California legislature has passed this regulatory requirement for middle school, and it again it's a 10-day class on health issues. It also has to be repeated in the high school. Each high school, each elementary school district had the opportunity to pick from one of two curriculums. There wasn't a great deal of choice. And again, it is the choice of the parent to opt out or to be a part of that. And so if it's not something you're comfortable with, by all means, we always respect that. It is not something that's forced on anybody. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, this question is sort of going along in a similar vein. Do you think parents' rights should be overlooked by school psychologists? And I think they're trying to clarify this. Where do you draw the line with children's privacy and the parental right to know what is going on in the school? And we'll begin with Ms. Griego Melgar.
Yeah, so I am a parent advocate as well, in addition to being a wife and a mom. I advocate, for not only my own children, but for children in the district, in this district, in local districts, and just children everywhere who are entitled to an appropriate education. I do not believe that school psychologists should have any type of access to students' personal information. I don't believe that school psychologists should be able to make any type of personal decisions or evaluations legally without the parents involved. I believe that parents should be involved from the forefront on every decision that is made in schools. And I think parents should be informed first and foremost on everything that's going on with their children, especially their psychological well-being.
Thank you. Ms. Small?
First, let me just clarify that school psychologists serve a very specific function in our schools. They are typically more involved in regard to behavioral issues and special education, special needs issues. I think there's a misconception out in the community, out in the world, that we have psychologists who are doing psychological assessments on every child in our school district. That is not, in fact, what's happening, and I'm not quite sure where it came from. With that said, I want to just reinforce that the work that our psychologists do, especially in those IEPs with our families, are very much engaging the parents in that process. There are decisions that have to be made, and certainly with that, they try to do the best that they can to engage the parents in that process. And certainly there are times when even legal action comes into it to become advocates for certain situations. But I have to say our group does a good job of meeting the needs of our parents with our students. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. This person asks, do you have any information on Whittier police taking police canines into middle schools to sniff for drugs in student lockers while the students are lined up to watch? If you do not know about it, would you please look into this? The elementary students will soon be there. So we will begin with Ms. Small.
With regard to dogs sniffing or drug sniffing dogs, we have had a couple of different programs where we have brought dogs and dog handlers in to illustrate the reality of what can happen in schools where that needs to be done. I certainly don't know. I'm looking around the room kind of inquiring. I'm just not familiar that it's happening in Whittier City. It may be happening in other districts. Like I said, I do know that we have brought dogs into our community to share with our middle school students that these are the range of abilities of dogs in the event that drugs become a big issue for us on that. But I am not aware of any program that currently goes on where they're investigating lockers in front of students. And certainly would look into it for sure, given that information. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Griego Melgar.
Yes, great question, because I actually just attended coffee with the principal at Whittier High School last week, and somebody asked the same question, and so the principal did say it has happened at Whittier High School. So at the high school level, I know that it has happened and it is happening there. But again, it's just randomly. So the principal said the canines come in about once a month, and then they just kind of sniff through random classrooms. The students are removed from the class. The dogs sniff out the backpacks and kind of the classroom. If there's anything that they find, then they'll ask the student, if it's their stuff, they'll have the student remove the belongings and then go up to the office and they'll continue the investigation. However, I'm not aware if it's happening, or, I don't think it's happening at the K through 8, the Whittier City School District level.
I need to state it unequivocally. It isn't happening in our schools, and it is happening periodically in our high schools. We have brought dogs as a kind of an exhibit, as a kind of an extracurricular sort of activity, but it certainly is not going on in our schools. Thank you.
Thank you. There is a ballot measure on the ballot, Prop 28, that would appropriate money from the general fund to be dedicated to the California schools' budgets to provide arts and music education in all schools. If this measure passes, what programs and training would you want Whittier City School District to implement? And it's money that would be focused on, would be appropriated for all grade levels, and that low-income and needy schools would, according to a local control funding formula, would have to, more of the money would have to be focused on schools that have higher needs. So, arts and music type of education in the Whittier City School District. That would be new, probably. And I guess we have to start with I'm lost. Ms. Melgar.
Well, I know that Hoover is a school of arts. My boys went there, and I know that they have fantastic shows. They have a great art program. They do music. They have, my oldest son took piano lessons there many, many years ago, and it was very affordable. And he actually learned to play the piano really well, so that's great. And, as a local mom, I think having those programs available, that is affordable, that is important. So the art and music should Prop 828 pass. I believe that the district would really benefit from having those funds. Other than that, I know a lot of the schools in our district are magnet schools, so I'm not sure exactly how the money would be appropriated, but we'll take it.
Thank you. What kinds of programs and training would you like to see Whittier School District implement?
This is such a great question for me. I've always contended that if I won the lottery, I would be the best person in the world to know exactly where to put that money. And arts and phys ed and education and those kinds of extracurricular, which they're viewed now, would be worked into our California curriculum in a more definitive way. Alana is correct. We do have many schools that do amazing things. Hoover is just one of them. In fact, come to Matilda this coming weekend. We have our show that's a cross-district program that Sharon Carter has put together with her team and all of our kids across the district there. It'll be at Dexter Middle School. We have all kinds of dancing. We have folklorico dancing. We have band and music lessons at Dexter and Edwards and Andrews that are amazing. You've seen them in the concerts in the park in the Christmas time in Uptown Whittier. Lots of great ways to continue using that money. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. This is a question that deals with one topic, but the questions are aimed specifically at the two candidates with a slightly different focus. First, to Ms. Griego Melgar, you have made statements that critical race theory is being taught in our classrooms. What is your basis for saying this? Please be specific without naming names.
Well, I don't think I've ever gone on record saying that it is specifically being taught in our district. That I do not have evidence. I am a very transparent person. I believe what you see is what you get with me. And so the critical race theory, I haven't found it specifically in our district. I do know that California curriculum does have ethnic studies embedded in it. And so, yeah, specifically that question with the critical race theory, I do not believe that I have ever said that it's in our district specifically. Thank you.
Thank you. And to Ms. Small, is critical race theory part of the curriculum in the Whittier City School District? Has it ever been an agenda item during your tenure on the school board?
Critical race theory is not part of the Whittier City School District curriculum. It's not been an agenda item. There is no question that our California legislature is entertaining those sorts of things. It tends to be something that is more in the high school level curriculum there. Alana is correct. There is a component where there is some interest in ethnic studies. For us, even with that, we believe that it may be something that we could offer as an elective to people who are interested in it. But in terms of critical race theory, I really want to emphasize to people, part of your job as a school board member is to quiet the noise around the community, around the nation about things like that. We have a lot to do in order to get back on track from COVID, from learning loss, from the socio-emotional needs of our kids. They were out of it for almost 2 years, and they're struggling. We have a lot more important things that we need to take care of than we do about these extraneous issues. Thank you.
Thank you. This parent, or this person asks, should parents be advised if a child has any questions that come up at school concerning their gender? And we'll begin with Ms. Small and then go to Ms. Griego Melgar.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that again, Margot?
Should parents be advised if a child has any questions concerning their gender that would have come out talking in class or talking with a teacher or talking with an advisor? Should the parents be let in on it?
As a parent, I could not imagine not wanting to involve your parents in a conversation about something that's so important to your child. I also can't imagine not knowing that about my own child, that I would have to learn it from the school. But I do know that we have a lot of different sorts of situations that come up in our school that are not always easy to deal with. For me, I definitely would want to know as a parent, and I would want our parents to know if our schools find out information about that sort of thing. It's a delicate conversation these days, and I think everyone is negotiating how to deal with it effectively. I work with 350 employers in Southern California, and I don't know any of them that actually handle it gracefully. It's an awkward conversation, it's an awkward issue, it's a new issue. And again, for me, as a parent, I would want to know, and I would want our parents to know these things. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Ms. Griego Melgar.
Yeah, so I definitely believe that the parent should be informed. Like Linda said, it is a delicate topic. It's a delicate conversation. I can only speak as a parent. I would want to be informed if my child is speaking with a teacher or a school administrator, somebody at the school about, issues they're facing with their sexuality, their gender, what have you, because then it would be my job as the parent. It is the home's job, to deal with these situations. And you talk to your child, you have the conversation at home from there on out. But if it were said at school, I would want to be informed as a parent.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Whittier is growing. We have new housing developments being placed in a variety of areas in the community, the biggest of which, I think, is the Groves. And historically, the Groves is an anomalous situation in that it is part of the Los Nietos School District. Partially because Los Nietos was the very first school district in the whole state, and therefore a state facility next to that school district would be part of that school district. However, the reality is that the Groves is in Whittier. Is there any interest in Whittier City School District incorporating the Groves area into the Whittier City School District, especially since it is surrounded by Whittier City Schools? And how would you go about doing that? I think I'll go with Ms. Small again.
The Groves is a beautiful, wonderful, revitalized area. I think we all can agree on that. We have been watching from a distance as to where it was going to fall in regard to Los Nietos. We kind of knew that was going to happen. What I would say to everyone here is that the best thing that we can do to embrace it, if you will, is to make the Whittier School District the best district in the area. Parents should have a choice as to where their kids can go to school, and if you're that close to us, we'd be happy to evaluate your ability to enroll in our school. As I mentioned earlier, declining enrollment is a big problem it's just lurking on the edge of a cliff. And if we don't really work hard to get our schools where they need to be, we're going to be seriously impacted by it. With that said, we're working hard on it, and we'd be only too happy to have those families from the Groves come and check out our schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Griego Melgar.
Yeah, so I agree with Linda. I don't fully understand how, they were incorporated into Los Nietos, with them being in the area that they're in. I don't know the logistics about all of that, but, yeah, we would love to have those residents from the Groves come into the Whittier City School District. My friend who lives in the Groves, she actually got a permit from the Los Nietos district to come to Whittier City. So that's, and she's at, her child is at Edwards Middle School, and she's very happy because she came from the Culver City School District, and so it's been a good transition for her. So she is happy with that. And yeah, like Linda said, we would love to have every student bring them all down. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I think that we have gotten about as many questions as we're going to get this evening, and we do have the opportunity for each of the candidates to give a 1-minute closing statement, and then you're welcome to visit with the people who are here in the audience. So we will begin our closing statements with Ms. Small, because she went second during the opening statements. And you have 1 minute for a closing statement.
Thank you. I would like to thank all of you with the League of Women Voters. It's always a pleasure to be here, to get the opportunity to speak with everyone here, and certainly with those who will be watching it on our public channel. With that said, I'm going to offer my closing statement. Experience and accomplishments distinguish me among the other candidate you've heard from tonight. Over these past 17 years of service, I've worked tirelessly to address many challenges facing our district. Among them include resetting our culture and the direction of our district through leadership change, personnel development and recruitment, careful navigation and strategizing of our district finances through some of the most treacherous economic times we've known. I've supported great technological overhaul of our infrastructure and personnel development to leverage it to help our students succeed. We have award-winning schools, hard-working employees, achieving students, and a path to success that I would like to help us continue along. I have kept my promises I have made with each election, and I hope I've earned the privilege of getting your vote again. Thank you.
Thank you. Finally, we will hear from Alana Griego Melgar.
Well, I do not have all the wisdom and expertise that Linda does, but I do have a heart and I have a passion for the students here in our district. Otherwise, I wouldn't be running for this position because, like I said, I am a homeschool mom of my younger two, and I would love more than anything to be able to send my kids, back to public school here in Whittier City. I, would love a little bit of a break more than anything, but I just believe that, like I said, this district can be amazing. I believe that there are amazing leaders already in place. I've had conversations with Linda, and I've explained to her it was never my intent to oppose her in any way because I know she has a great reputation. I do, however, just feel a call to at least do something and just see how this goes. So I hope that I can get your vote this November 8th, and if not tomorrow, like Margot said, the ballots will be out there. But vote as you see fit. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to thank our candidates this evening. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of time commitment and a lot of devotion that goes into serving on a board. And it's a big decision to stick your neck out and decide to try to sell yourself and your ideas to the community and get people to vote for you. I'd also like to thank my league and AAUW partners here, Beverly Walker and Dolores Gonzalez-Hayes, who were reading our questions and passing them up, our timekeepers, Loretta Gonzalez and Delia Morales, and our usher, Claire Kohler. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for helping this forum to be function easily. And please do let your friends and neighbors know that not only is Area 5 having an election, but there are candidates running to represent people in the west central part of Whittier, which is Area 3. And they will be happy to chat with you outside. So thank you again, and thank you to the City of Whittier. We very much appreciate the fact that we are able to use this great facility that there will be a YouTube version of this running through the election, and that it was broadcast on Channel 3 tonight and will be in a rotating programming situation until the election. The other thing I need to tell you is that the other part of Whittier, East Whittier, is having a high school district election and a Rio Hondo College election. And we will be meeting here again on Thursday, the 13th, to hear from the candidates for the Area 4 Whittier Union High School District and the Area 5 Rio Hondo College District, both of which are East Whittier. So there, oddly enough, there's no overlap between tonight and Thursday night. Or a very small sliver.
Small sliver.
Yeah. And the Rio Hondo College trustee who represents Central and Uptown Whittier was not challenged. So that's why there is not an election in that Area 3 situation. And Area 1, which is also on the ballot, is El Monte, South El Monte, and that's a bit too far from Whittier to actually have the forum here in City Hall. But they are having a forum tonight at Rio Hondo College. So the students were putting that one on. So the most important thing is do your research, go to votersedge.org and learn more about the people who are on your ballot, learn more about the measures that are on the ballot. There's a candidate area and there's a measures area. And study before you make up your mind, and then cast that ballot and get it in on time. So thank you, everyone, for being here, and please vote.